Hello Internet, Raptor7717 here, also known as Austin Smith, here to review the Jinhao X450 fountain pen and rollerball. I would say set, but it doesn't appear that these are actually set. These are the marble versions of both pens. As you can see, the black marble and the blue marble. I would usually show you the packaging at this point, but the packaging, as with all Jinhao packaging, is actually a little plastic bag. So I'm going to move this fountain pen off to the side and show you the rollerball first. You can see here we have a cap, pretty plain top of the cap there. We have a little band that leads to the clip, which is a fairly interesting design. Haven't really seen anything else like it. It's got 3 bumps there. The clip works. It's fairly tight, and it does fit fairly easily into the pocket and back out again. It's alright. You can see this lovely marble finish. This one is the blue shade of marble. We have the center band, which is in a goldish color. It says Jinhao X450. And then we have some more of that marble type on the barrel there. Then we have the end cap there, which is just another little black thing with a golden band. We pop it off and it is a snap cap, and here we have the little rollerball tip. We have the X450 grip here, which has little indents that you can put your fingers in, and actually there's a third one that you put your middle finger in if you're writing in the standard way. You would hold the pen like this, and your fingers really do fit nicely in there, and I think it's pretty comfortable. It's not a severe thing at all, and it does make your fingers gravitate toward that, so you don't really hold it too hard up or too far down. Beyond that, you have another gold bit, gold cone leading up to the tip, which is a rollerball tip. Unscrewing the barrel reveals that there is a spring in the back. Ooh. See if I can get that. Yep. There's a spring in the back of the pen, which is there presumably to keep the rollerball tip at the end, and you get a cartridge that looks like nothing else I've actually seen. So you might have to buy proprietary Jinhao cartridges for this thing. This rollerball is indeed black ink, and I will show you a writing sample in a moment. First, let's cap it. Bring in the fountain pen. This fountain pen looks almost identical because it is the same pen, essentially, except you have this nice, more black marble finish, and boy, it looks great. I love it. Looks fantastic. You open it up, and you will notice something with the section here. The section looks kind of like it's plastic, but actually it looks like it's just a painted over metal, because you can see the bit of flecks of metal there and some scratches. You might wonder why those scratches are there. Well, the inside of the cap on this particular pen, you can see that if it focuses. Folks, there it is. There's little tiny malformations that aren't very nice to the grip of this pen, and so they scratch it up a bit when you put the cap on and off. And by the way, that white inner cap right there is what actually seals it in place, but it isn't the nicest to the finish here, and so these are cheap pens. They will usually cost you about $10, $11, and I guess that's just the price you pay for the possibility of poor quality. Well, first I'll show you the nib. I was going to unscrew it, but I'll show you the nib first. The nib is a nice two-tone nib. I believe Jinhao says that it is gold-plated. It probably isn't for this price. You get the feed there. The feed is quite nice. It has a little thumb thing, at least that's what I think it is, so that you can pull it out very easily. It does indeed pull out. It does disassemble. It is the same feed that is on the Jinhao 159 here. Slightly different nib, same feed. I don't know if you can see that, but it is indeed the same feed. Now we shall unscrew the body of the pen and find, rather unspectacularly, that there is a single blue cartridge in there that came with the pen. Very simple. I've used it for a bit. There is space in there for another cartridge, and you can easily fit a converter. These pens usually do come with a converter, which is something that makes me think that these two were indeed a set, but the different colors kind of makes me think they weren't. So I don't know, maybe it's just the marble one that comes with a cartridge. You'll have to do some research if you're going to buy one of these pens, but they're not that expensive, and a converter really isn't going to break your back. I think you can probably get like 10 converters, Chinese converters, for $5, which would be the same quality you can get in this pen. But it's between 50 cents and $1 or $5 for a converter, depending on what quality you want. So shouldn't be that bad. So I will be back in just a moment and give you guys a writing sample with these pens. Okay, I'm back with a writing sample for the Jinhao X450 Rollerball pen. So Jinhao X450. You see, I haven't written with this rollerball very much, so I had a bit of a problem starting it there. That's really my problem. Also, I've left the cap here. I tend not to post my pens. You can post the pen. It has a white inner cap that may or may not crack, but for me that's just a bit unwieldy. I don't like doing it. I usually hold it in my hand, but there is actually a tripod right there, so I'm going to set it off to the side. And it's just a standard black cartridge. You see that it does actually lay down some ink. It is very smooth. Let's see if I can do the quick brown fox for you. Well, I can, but it's not particularly impressive. I'll stop it there. It flows very well. It's a very thin line. I would definitely call this a fine. That's the worst F ever. But it's nothing special, really. It gets the job done, and if it goes with your other pen, it's quite nice. If you want a more of a thick, chunky rollerball pen to write with, I would recommend this. If you just don't want one of those thin rollerball pens that they sell, or if you like the grip. I really like the grip, and it is quite heavy, so it's quite pleasant to write with. It's quite easy to write with. No problems there. Ironically, the blue pen has the black cartridge in it, and the black pen has the blue cartridge in it, which I will now show you. This is the Jinhao X450 fountain pen in a medium, and the ink is some standard blue cartridge that came with it. I don't know anything about that. By the way, the paper here is dollar store paper, Dollar General to be specific, and in the US that's actually fairly good paper. I was surprised, and as you can see, I'm still using it. That's right, the Quick Brown Fox. But we're not just going to stop there. We're going to finish the sentence. And screw up the word lazy royally. God, I'm bad at writing, but I am writing over a tripod, so bear that in mind. As you can see, the pen does lay down quite a patch of ink when you want it to. I wouldn't say it's particularly gushy or anything. It's quite smooth. It's surprisingly smooth. Especially, I used the 159 before this. And the 159, at least mine, is quite sticky. This is surprisingly smooth. So it just goes to show that these nibs are not the don't have the best quality control, and they can go from kind of all right writing to really nice writing. And since they're only medium, they don't have the scratchiness of a fine. Should you wonder if there is a little bit of line variation, there is just a tiny, tiny bit. So No pressure. A lot of pressure. So there is some, but again, with these Chinese nibs, you can actually kind of bend the tines away from the feed, and that will restrict your ink flow. So I wouldn't recommend doing that often. It isn't designed to do that, but it will do it if you want to add a little bit of extra flair to your writing. You can kind of push it back. That's also me writing in reverse, which it does do, and it does make about a fine line. This is a very fat medium, so if you like your mediums fat, if you like them a bit wet, then, you know, it's a good pen. It doesn't do anything spectacular. It's just writes, which I think is something that can be said about all these Chinese pens that you look at, or at least the majority of them that are maybe $10 or so, is that they write. And the Rollerball writes as well. It's a fairly good set. I'm definitely going to use them. So yeah. Bye.